A motion by Helmut.
Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those people that make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, or Oxford Township, these are the people that you went and elected, and the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you went to that meeting or not. And the result can be a
Taxing
situation.
It could be. And also there's humor. You know, in every
Humor.
meeting we find humor. We have to drag it out sometimes.
From the top or the bottom.
Right. Many times it
The
bubbles
cream
to
or the
top.
dregs.
The cream is there, yeah. And if you don't attend, we'll let you know what the humor is, right?
That's right.
That's what we're all about.
That's
I
right.
hope. Okay, the other thing, of course, is one of us, we spread rumors. That would be this guy, pretty much.
I spread them, he creates them.
Good. Anyway, we work as a team to do this. The other thing is that this is kind of an abbreviated version of what the meetings are. We accomplish roughly in a half hour what they accomplish in about 3 days.
Yes, sir. That's the Reader's Digest version of everything that happened in all 4 municipalities
It
in
is.
the last week or two.
It sure is.
And if you have a big enough cup of coffee, you can sit down at your computer and watch the entire thing on our website, occtv.org. Click on programs and everything is in reverse date order.
Voila. But, you know, make sure you get a large cup of coffee.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Some of those meetings are really long.
But there's a lot of content in it and a lot of detail that if you want to dig into it further, you know, go to the website. Let's talk about a couple meetings that occurred. First one is the Polly Ann Trail Management Council meeting. It was held on January 16th at the Oxford Township boardroom. And persons present were Curtis Wright, who is the chair, and of course he is the clerk for the township as well. Mike McDonald, who is the president of Leonard Village. Elgin Nichols, which would be me. And Bruce Pearson, who is the supervisor of township in Addison. And Aaron Watley, who is actually Parks and Rec executive director over there in Orion Township.
Oh.
And Eric Sant, who serves on the board also, and he's a trustee in Addison Township.
Yeah,
Two people,
Polly Ann Trail crosses many boundaries.
they do, but it covers, right, a lot of area, a lot of people involved. Kevin Green was there, and he's a citizen rep, and Linda Moran, who is the trail manager, of course. And two people were absent. One was Kevin Green, and he's a citizen. I'm sorry, he was there. Did I say that he wasn't?
No, you
Oh.
said he was absent.
Oh, I'm going to back up. He was there. Kevin Green was there, and Linda Moran were there, both of them. People that weren't there was Donnie Steele, who's with Orion Township, and Joe Frost, who's with the Village.
Right.
And they were both excused. Wow. I missed a few words there.
You may
Had
be
to circle back.
excused.
We got the wagons all in a row and went back and attacked. Okay, others present in the audience was Ethan Van Amstel, and he's a candidate for Eagle Scout.
Oh.
And we'll get into that a little bit later as we go along here. Approval of the agenda, it was approved immediately for the January 16th agenda. Consent agenda, motion was made by McDonald, and it was approved for the November 21st, 2018 minutes. Then the treasurer's report was discussed and approved for bills in the amount of $503.75.
Even though it's winter, the costs keep rolling along.
They keep rolling along. Actually, they split up 2 months. There's November and December. November was $8,242.63, and December $2,261.12, making up the total. And of course, that was approved immediately. Motion was made to receive and file, not to remove, but to receive and file financial reports for November and December. And then the trail manager's report as well. Boy, I'm having a tangle with the tongue here today, aren't I? Get this. Feel free to jump right in.
It's okay, it'll limber up.
Might do that. I'm not at all sure. But that's why I've got this guy here. He'll leap right in when he has to, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not. I'm not at all sure. So anyway, public comments was the next thing for items not on the agenda. And Eagle Scout candidate Ethan Van Amstel, he talked about making birdhouses and bat houses to go along the trail at various locations, and explained, how he was going to build them, and he was going to get voluntary help, to do it, even from the standpoint of people donating tools to use for the projects. And he said the cost on this was going to run about $1,262, and he was going to get
How many of these things is he planning on building?
Oh, there's quite a few. He's going to put quite a few along the trail.
And they have to approve the locations, I guess.
Right, they have to be approved, and first of all, to go forward with it, if they agree to do that. And second of all, the money that he's talking about was a question, and that's all through donations. So there's nothing that you folks have to pay for out there. He's put this all together and very well organized and regimented in what he wants to do. So action required on this. Bruce Pearson voiced agreement with a plan, and Chairman Curtis Wright agreed to place it on the February 2019 agenda for the council approval.
The birds are
So it's
nice,
coming up.
and the bats will eat all those mosquitoes that would otherwise bite you
What
as you live
mosquitoes?
on the trail.
What mosquitoes? Oh, that's right. You're in Brandon Township.
No, we don't have mosquitoes.
No, but you have a lot of chipmunks.
Love those chipmunks.
Right. But they keep showing up in my backyard for some reason. But that's another story. You got to stop trapping those little guys. They're innocent.
Did I tell you I found out a way of training them? Equipped them with a little GPS, and off they went.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you find an excess of chipmunks in your backyard, this is the guy, and I'll give you his phone number. Just contact the station here.
Let's drop them off at his. He's got so
No.
many now he can't count them.
Right, that's true. Citizen representative report. Kevin Green said that he had ridden the trail on his bike, and he said it looks really good, for the weather that we've had, and was quite pleased with it. Trail manager's report, verbal summary that Linda Moran made, and she talked about the Wood Trail in terms of the repairs that were made on Wood
No, that's
Trail.
that big sinkhole that came up.
It was, and that's the county. There's a dispute right now, of course, between the township and the county as to who's going to pay what. And of course, the Pollyant Trail folks in the council, they have a vested interest in this as well.
Did that actually directly affect the trail itself?
It did, because they had hoses and all kinds of things, equipment that went over the trail to get to it to repair.
So there was some damage to it.
There
okay.
was. And so that was all a part of the consideration. The other thing, remember the gazebo we were talking about that somebody was going to donate?
And put it where?
And it was in Orion Township, and they were going to put alongside the trail. And they hadn't decided where it was going to go yet, but first they had to get somebody to move it, to a location, prospective proposal.
Oh.
Couldn't get anybody to agree to move it. So it looks like that's a dead issue. So there will be no gazebo, folks, but there will be birdhouses out there, and there will be birds eating mosquitoes, which is a good
That's
thing.
right. Or bats.
Or bats. Bats? Birds eat
Birds eat
mosquitoes.
mosquitoes too, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well-
bats certainly do.
Stop picking on the birds. Have nothing to do with it. And we'll talk more about that
Nothing
when
like
we
a
come
little
back.
competition.
Right after this, folks. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the Pollyant Trail meeting that went on last week. And we were talking about Linda Moran's summary of the various topics that she was discussing on her report. And we just finished talking about the gazebo, that there be no gazebo. Yes, there be no gazebo.
There be no gazebo today.
Oh. And next item they talked about were signs along the trail that are going in. There's about 90 of them that were sold to various businesses and so forth that will have their insignias on it. Mile markers also were donated, many of them by Birmingham Steel from Birmingham, Michigan.
I take it there's no metric reference on there either.
No, there is no metric reference. Absolutely not.
Be
Roland,
handy when they do a run on it, though, because usually the marathons and stuff are measured metrically, aren't they?
they are, could be, might be.
When they go to 5K, it's not 5K miles.
No, not 5K miles. Says the guy that knows 5K.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Those days are long gone.
I tried to spread a rumor here, but didn't go far. I forgot you're the guy that does the rumors.
I see.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
but no, wait a minute. I spread them. You create them.
okay, let's get on with it. Mile markers, we said with Birmingham Steel. Great job for donation there. Roland Road cable that they were putting under the trail in that area. And that went smoothly, no problem at all. Storage building at Hovey Street, they're still looking at the possibility of building a storage unit over there for their equipment. Pure Michigan application is in process. Once you get that, you're open to various grants and that kind of thing.
Ah,
So it's a good thing.
you get your own free Pure
Yeah.
Michigan sign?
Yes, you get all free advertising too.
Oh.
It's like free. So it's a good thing, Pure Michigan.
Well, the Pollyant Trail is eventually meant to link up with all the other trails that are extant
Statewide.
in Michigan, the Paint Creek, the Iron Bell.
You should be able to get on the Pollyant Trail at some point and take your vehicle all the way up to UP at some point.
Well, you said the wrong word.
What's that?
They don't like vehicles on the Pollyant Trail.
But actually, a bicycle is a vehicle. And now you can put electric vehicles on
can
the
you?
trail. Sure you can, but you have to get a permit.
Ah.
And we're going to talk about that too a little bit. Let me see. Vandals. Aha. You vandals out there, if you're listening to this, stop messing with the bridges and the rails, because somebody has to come behind it and fix it,
What, are they breaking them or what?
No, they're writing all over them. They're carving their initials in it. Sally likes Bimbo. Bimbo likes Sally. I don't know what it is, but lots of things going on there. There shouldn't be.
Someone named their kid Bimbo?
Yeah, they meant to put Dumbo, but they couldn't spell.
Okay.
But anyway, they use spray paint. They think
Yeah,
they're artists. Far
Yeah.
from it.
Not everyone is.
Yeah, no talent there whatsoever.
Very
But
low
if
percentage.
they ever catch you doing this, you want to talk about talent, you have lots of time to learn about it.
Is that a case where the police can enforce that?
If the police can catch them, and there are cameras on the trail, so it's very possible one of these times one of these derelicts will get caught, doing this, in which case it will cost them X buku dollars in fines, plus perhaps a little time in the pokey. Not doing the hokey pokey, but in the pokey.
Oh,
You know
well.
what I mean? Okay,
There's always a price to pay
There
for the
is.
choices you make.
right. Birdhouses, we already talked about that, and we're going to discuss that at the next meeting. Let me see. Also, they talked about allowing a bench to be installed on West Street for a lady that she walks the trail all the time, and within that area, and her kids have decided to purchase this bench and place
No,
there.
that's cool.
So they need authority to do it. And at that time, the time of the meeting, they didn't want to reveal the lady's name.
When they
'cause
put
it's gonna be a surprise.
when they put a bench there, do they put like cement anchors for it?
They do anchor them in.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not
Carried
transportable. Yeah. Pterodactyls, come down, squat, take them. No, they don't do that. Right, so they do have protection there. They also, she indicated that she needs some new equipment for what she needs to do this spring and this fall to maintain the property in the tune of about $1,279. And that was actually approved and went forward with it. New business, there's Frank Race Management requested June 9th, September 8th, and that was approved for the trail. Let me see what else. Handicap trail permit. This is where we were talking about a permit for Cody Pearson for use of his powered vehicle on the Pollyant Trail. So you folks, if you have a handicap or you're at an age where it's difficult, to walk any major distance, and you want to ride your bike or whatever, and it's a
But by-
partially power bike.
But by
get a
power,
permit.
do you mean electric, or can it also be gas?
Well, we're talking electric vehicles right now.
Okay.
So I'm not at all sure if the gas is covered on this. Could be depending on the situation that the individual has. But they don't like to have the gas fumes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, once you make a decision like that, it can get out of hand.
It can, yep. So anyway, that was approved. The bench placement was approved also. Website for Facebook status. Website, you folks have tried to access the Pollyant Trail website, not there. If it is there, it's all garbled, and that's because it's been hacked.
Hacked?
Hacked by some hacker. Define hacker. Somebody gets in there and makes a mess.
Boy, they really went big time, didn't
Yeah,
they?
They did. And there's quite a discussion.
That's really irritating.
Yep, there was quite a discussion, at the board meeting for this, or the council meeting. And so if you folks want to learn more, you again can go to occtv.org and click on it,
No.
Polly Ann Trail.
Now they got to
and
invest in
learn
a
more.
firewall or something.
Yeah. But apparently what happened is they actually went in and they changed the coding and everything. So it wasn't, it's perfectly wiped out from what I understand. The thought they had is they need to change the IP. They've got a webmaster, that will be in charge of this. And she indicated that they would have to rebuild the complete website, which
Oh.
I'm not all sure that's required because she does have backup for
Right.
the website. So
So there might be some minor changes that she could make that will
Right.
protect it a little bit better.
if she goes to a different IP address, because once one of these hackers gets your IP address, they can get in.
You're done.
You pretty much. Can you say smoking? Not a good thing. So you pretty much have to do that, and they'll look at the results of this once they look at it more in detail, making a decision.
Right.
Got it. Reference material was brought up by Clerk Wright, the chairperson. A couple of issues. The 5-year master plan is a discussion that went on that they need to make a change because the DNR requires certain requirements, and those requirements have to be amendments made, to the 5-year master plan. And so that 5-year master plan is being reviewed by the council members as we speak.
Is this the existing 5-year plan?
Yes, it just needs modified.
Which has how much to go?
Well, it's complete, except DNR says that there's an area there that you have to determine what happens to the trail if something happens to your organization.
What I meant was, is this an existing 5-year plan who's got X number of years left, or is this a brand new
Yes. No, it's not a new one.
one? Okay.
It's 5-year. It has been approved in the past, but
Okay.
this is just an item that DNR brought up.
All right.
So in order to do this, it allows them to get trust fund grants. Now, that doesn't exempt them from getting other kinds of grants through the DNR.
What's a trust fund grant?
It's monies that have been set aside by some people who really want to see a progress with the trails. And it could be through death benefits, that they
Okay.
take the funding and put it into a,
Okay.
into a trust.
Nice gesture by people.
It is, very nice. But that money is not to be used unless you dot your I's, cross your T's, that kind of thing. So that's pretty much what went on at the Polly Ann Trail meeting the other day. Lots of goodies, and we'll tell you more about the Oxford Village DDA coming up right after this.
Downtown Development Authority.
Yes, it is. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we just got finished with the Polly Ann Trail meeting, and now we're going to talk about the Oxford Village DDA meeting held on January 21st, which
The
was just,
Downtown Development Authority.
you've got it. Chairperson is Pete Schultz, who's also the fire chief in the village. Nicole Ellsworth, who owns 5-1 Diner. Michelle Klein is the newest member on this board. Dorothy Johnston serves on the board and has for some time. Rod Charles, Elgin Nichols. Joe Frost is on the board, but he was absent, excused, and Sue Oles also was absent at the time. So, first thing he did, of course, is a pledge. Then they asked if there was any public that wanted to speak on non-agenda items. Nobody stood up. Everybody hid under their chairs.
Oh.
So they said the next thing is a consent agenda. Let's approve that. The agenda for January 21st, 2019. Motion was made to approve it. Look how we're moving along here, huh? And then,
Everyone's so agreeable.
yes, they are. Minutes for December 17th, 2018 also were approved right after that. And then reports for the police report, code enforcement report, DPW report, executive director's report, and
You're on report.
revenue and expense report were all received and filed. hey, we're almost through this meeting. No, we're not. There's lots of things coming. Bills for December 2018 in the amount of, write this down, $12,441.63.
And they're not emptying that well, are
No, no, they're watching the money pretty
That's good.
close. So there's lots of things coming up, and that's why, and you'll learn more as we go along in this meeting, folks. Unfinished business, Susan Scher's resignation was received, and a short discussion on it. It was received and filed with regrets. So Susan Scher served on this board for some time and did a great job when she was with us, and also volunteered for other things like the Lone Ranger Parade and lots of other activities she was
And
involved in.
now they have to go through the process of replacing her.
She was replaced already.
Oh,
She was replaced by Michelle Klein.
oh, okay.
So we got a full board. All right, new business. Repairs to the downtown lighting system. I don't know if you're aware, but the parking lot behind, I'm trying to think of the location, near Johnston Photography.
Okay.
Behind it. Actually, the real estate company where they just did repairs, to the parking lot.
Okay.
At the entrance there. Anyway, apparently electrical power went out.
Oh,
Yep, and it was due to some wiring that was bad, conduit, and it shorted out. So that's not the issue at this point.
conduit couldn't do it?
Conduit couldn't do it. They did do the repairs. They got it repaired through the DPW, but the DPW indicated that they didn't have enough money to pay for the project,
Oh,
and asked the executive director of DDA, Mr. Pape, if they would be so kind to donate some money
How
to
much?
get it repaired. Well, they didn't cover that facet because they never got to it.
oh,
And the reason why they didn't get to it is the fact that question came up, who owns that particular electrical service and that light? And who, is it the township or the village that owns it? Is it the DDA that owns it? Is it the property owners that own it?
is it on an easement?
It's not on an easement.
Oh,
So that question came up. And so there was objection that DDA funding is not to be used for infrastructure, for the village. It's to be used for improvement for the businesses within their district.
who
And
installed the thing?
That's a good question, originally. So Mr. Pape,
Was it really, really, really old?
I don't think it was that old, but Glenn Pape said that he was going to look into the invoices and find out, because he didn't know. He tried to search a quick search, couldn't find anything. So he's going to bring this back, and actually the board agreed at that point that to kind of shelf it until the next meeting. And actually, Pete Schultz made that suggestion.
Does that present a safety issue?
It's already fixed. It's repaired.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's just that who's going to pay for it now? That's the question. DPW gets their budgets or their money through the village, to do
Correct.
their projects. And infrastructure should be a concern for the village. If they don't have, monies in there for their infrastructure, should it fail, they certainly should start doing that as quickly as possible.
There's a
In the
line in
budget.
their budget called contingency.
Yes, there is. So anyway, so that one was kind of, you can see there's a lot of interest in that as it went along, and it hasn't been solved at this point. We're going to determine who actually owns the responsibility to fix this thing. And DDA is not inclined to do that because you got M24 coming up.
But ultimately, everything is funded by the village,
No, the DDA.
unless it's privately installed.
Right. Well, no.
The DDA
Yeah,
itself is
okay.
funded by the village.
Your point is well taken. There are areas, which is parking lot, that was actually installed by the businesses. They would be responsible collectively, to repair whatever is necessary within that area. Now, they could come before the DDA and request information, being they own it and don't have the funding to do it, and some program could probably be set up. You take the M24 streetscape example. DDA is set aside over $200,000 for marketing purposes. that kind of thing, and also arrange for financing for the streetscape itself to be taken care of and taking on that responsibility. But that's something that will change the whole look of what downtown is, improve it, and in many more ways than one.
Well, there have been more
Traffic and-
squabbles about that parking lot back there.
Hey, yeah, there is. There seems to be anyway. So this one is kind of on hold, until they find out who owns it. Personally, I'm not inclined to, spend the DDA money, for infrastructure requirements for the village. But
Well-
we'll have to see what we shall see. Okay, in this. What do you think?
Well, it's
Did I
kind of
dare
it's
ask?
kind of like going to the Bank of Dad.
The Bank of Dad, yeah. But it is definitely a different money. And at one time, DDA was in very financial straits,
Right.
and to the point of bankruptcy. So they're now solvent, and because they're solvent, they're looking at, hey, you guys have money. We're going to ask for the money. We want your money. They don't want to ever be in that situation again. So they're watching it very closely, folks over there in that district, in the business district. Okay, now, we talked about municipal parking ordinance changes that they're suggesting, Glenn Pape, that there should be a time limitation as far as parking requirements, because a lot of you folks out there that have got businesses, employees are using the front up spaces for their parking facility rather than parking in some of the remote areas as they're requested to do. Unfortunately, customers then can't get to you. So this is something that's been ongoing for years, and it looks like Mr. Pape is at least rolling up his sleeves and willing to dig into this and find a solution.
Make all the employees have a special tag on their windshield so that if they are parking out front, they can be easily identified.
Well, what he's proposing is a 2-hour limit, and so if the car is out there for 2 hours or longer,
Are there parking? There's no parking
citations.
meters there, are there?
No. And we don't really want parking meters, and I don't think the people downtown want parking meters. It's been experimented with where I came from, and they ended up tearing them all out because it didn't work. People refused to go downtown then at that time.
Oh,
So if there's a meter there and you see one
that's
that
what happens when you charge $1 a minute.
Great, $1 a minute. It probably is $10 a minute now. I don't know what the rates are, but anyway, it could possibly be. So anyway, so that's an area that they're going to be looking at, is an ordinance for that, and of course that has to go before the village council once the suggestion is made by the DDA and possibly before the planning commission. So there's lots of things that have to happen before new signage go up for parking. But you folks that are parking in spots that you're employed, don't park there. Leave that for the customers.
And when MDOT gets done in a couple of years, there'll be less.
Yeah, that's true. It will be. By the way, one of the changes they got in the M24 is they're no longer going to have that median
Oh, really?
in the middle. Yeah, they've eliminated that. That's not going to happen. So
Oh.
that'll be some help in getting trucks around.
So that original plan was to make the lanes narrower to control the speed of traffic, wasn't it?
That's true.
Now the lanes are going to be wider again?
I believe they will. And we can talk about that too later. But anyway, there was a committee formed to study and bring back recommended resolutions for the parking lot situation. So that's where they are now. And 3 of the members on the DDA is going to serve, as well as a member of the village council. And of course, the DDA director more likely will be on that as well. We have, by the way, have been nationally accredited as a historic preservation registration, and that's good news for the village.
What does that do?
It makes you noticeable to other communities, both statewide and nationally. So it's a good thing. It kind of puts one of those little markers.
Does it put restrictions on what you can do inside a village?
No, we've pretty much in compliance with the historic requirements for those buildings.
I know when some things
That's how you're approved.
get designated historical landmarks, it puts an onus on the owner.
It could. Speaking of onus on the owner, what's coming up?
Well, there's only 2 meetings, and one on February 4th at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals. Check on that one because often they cancel the meeting. And on 2/5 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. And That's all I got.
That's it.
Drop that mic.
Okay. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See ya.